Good evening, Chairman and members of the committee, and I call you ladies and gentlemen, thank you. My name is Dr. Sheila Kuzmic, and I'm a licensed pro-life pediatrician here in your state, in Rhode Island. And for the past 22 years, I have been committed to working with post-abortive men and women because of the trauma that many of them suffer from. And many of them have been not only traumatized, but adversely affected. Many people don't realize that, but many of these women came to me in private practice, sharing some of their deepest concerns, sorrows, and their brokenness. And so this has been a commitment of mine, and I'm here to tell you that abortion is bad medicine, it kills a baby, and that women and men do suffer from this medical procedure, both spiritually, physically, and even mentally. But even more, I came here tonight to share a testimony of a colleague, somebody who is more in terms of expertise in OBGYN tonight. She could not be here, and I think it's very important to hear her witness. Her name is Donna J. Harrison, and she's the Executive Director of the American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecology. And if you don't mind, may I share her testimony to you?
Yes.
Chairman and members of this committee, thank you for allowing me to address this committee, and I represent the American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists, composed of over 4,600 medical professionals across the United States, including 9 members living and practicing here in Rhode Island. The Reproductive Health Care Act is an attempt to not only permit the intentional destruction of human beings who can live outside the womb, but also an attempt to force medical professionals to participate in this killing in violation of our Hippocratic oaths, which explicitly forbids taking human life in abortion. To understand what exactly is being permitted in this Reproductive Health Care Act, one must face what is actually involved in each of these procedures. You have before you the descriptions of the abortion methods used today in the United States. All of these methods will be enshrined in state law by the Reproductive Health Care Act. All of these procedures are currently being performed on fetuses who could have survived outside of the womb, and all of them involve very painful ways of dying, either being torn limb from limb, by being extracted, then having the base of the brain pierced and sucked out by a high-pressure suction catheter, or by being chemically burned in utero, a process that can take 24 to 30 hours to induce fetal death. It is not medically necessary to perform an elective abortion procedure. The purpose of abortion is to produce a dead baby, as was made explicitly clear by abortionist testimony during the partial birth abortion ban hearings before the United States Supreme Court. In those hearings, abortionists testified that the ban infringed their trade by preventing them from producing their product, which is ensuring that the baby is born dead. The purpose of an abortion is to kill the child so that a live birth doesn't happen, and not to separate the mother and her unborn child. In the partial birth abortion case, the United States Supreme Court based its decision to uphold the ban in part on, quote, the premise that the state, from the inception of the pregnancy, maintains its own regulatory interest in protecting the life of the fetus that may become a child. Where it has a rational basis to act and does not impose an undue burden, the state may use its regulatory power to bar certain procedures and substitute others, all in furtherance of its legitimate interest in regulating the medical profession in order to promote respect for life, including the life of the unborn. The Reproductive Health Act enshrines all abortions in state law, including abortions after 20 weeks fertilization. The Reproductive Health Act will cause the state of Rhode Island to fail to protect the lives of its youngest and most vulnerable human beings in this state. This act even allows the brutal killing of the fetus, who is already a child, capable of independent, autonomous existence from his or her mother. The state has an obligation to protect the rights of these small human beings. The Supreme Court not only recognized the brutality of both partial birth abortion and D&E, dilation and extraction, on the fetus, but also gave consideration to the effects on the medical profession in general. In the case of Gonzalez, the United States Supreme Court justified the federal law protecting unborn children from partial birth abortion based on the government's, quote, interest in protecting the integrity and ethics of the medical profession, unquote. By forcing medical professionals to be killers, not healers, the Reproductive Health Care Act violates the integrity of the medical profession by forcing medical professionals in Rhode Island to participate in abortions, a participation strictly forbidden by our Hippocratic Oath. For these reasons, the American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists urge you to reject this act. And so don't I. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any questions for the witness?